I'm somebody that loves computers. It doesn't matter if it's a big beefy machine, a tablet, or even a phone. Sometimes my phone needs to be a creative tool. Other times it's a place to have a call or a meeting. Then there's times to check the news or play games. And on occasion it's a place to run my business when I'm away from my iPad. My phone has to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Let's get into it. Let's take one step back and talk about the iPhone I've been using. I've been bouncing back and forth between the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the iPhone Air, but I finally landed on the iPhone Air. It just feels like the future. The iPhone Air isn't without its compromises. The single camera lens, the lack of the ability to shoot RAW photos, the single speaker, and of course the smaller battery. But those compromises aside, the iPhone Air feels really good to use. It feels like the future. When setting up this iPhone, I started from scratch. I took everything off the home screen and the Today view. I'm somebody that doesn't like having multiple home screens. I used to have a personal home screen and a work home screen, and it would change based on what focus mode I was in. I always have a focus mode enabled. But what I found is this would break my muscle memory. I'd be reaching for apps that weren't on that home screen with that focus mode, and it was kind of a mess. So going into this, the goal was just to have one page, one home screen, and that was it. As far as customizations go to the home screen, I just use the dark mode icons with the large app icons. I use the large app icons because it gets rid of the text labels under the apps. I do wish there was a way to use the small app icons with no labels. Also going into this, a big goal of mine was to have a calendar widget right on the home screen, but have a combination of all the events I had going on for that day and all the tasks from my task manager that I had due for that day as well. I mentioned in a video a little bit ago, I switched to BusyCal as my calendar app. And a big reason why I did this is because of its widget. They have a large widget with a calendar up top and all the events you have scheduled for today down below. But what's really cool about BusyCal is you can sign into Todoist. This is the service I use as my task manager. It will also show all the tasks that you have due for a given day in line with your calendar. But more importantly, it also shows those in the widget. With this widget, when I unlock my phone, I see all the tasks and appointments I have scheduled for that day in one spot. It's really handy for me to be able to always see my schedule right when I unlock my phone. I can see all the events that are happening that day, all the tasks I need to do that day, and I can just work my way at the top of that list down. Like I mentioned, I only wanted one home screen, but I have a lot of apps that I wanted accessible on that one home screen. So what I did is I broke them up into two tiers. The first ones are my most used and apps I need to jump into quickly. These are the ones right on the home screen. This includes mail. I get a lot of email and I just need to deal with it for work, and I just try and tackle a little bit every time I get a minute or two. If I can just tackle an email here or there while I'm waiting for something, it can help overall. Then there's photos. Don't think I need to explain this one. I like looking at my photos. Next is Sequel. This is my media tracking app. I like having this on the home screen because if somebody recommends something to me or I read about something, I can quickly save it here. Then there is Halide. I use this for shooting RAW photos. Like I mentioned, you can't shoot RAW photos in the default camera app on the iPhone Air. This is a limitation I find to be really annoying. The benefit of shooting a RAW photo is you get a lot of extra data. So if your highlights are clipping or there's too much shadows, or in the way I like to edit photos, not enough shadows, you can edit this stuff easily in just about any photo editor app. With Halide, they have an option for shooting RAW photos called Process Zero. This will take a RAW photo without any of the extra processing that Apple does with their Pro RAW photos. I really like the way these photos look. There's something that happened a few years ago, the way Apple just started over-processing photos to a point that I don't really like this. And the Process Zero look, it's so good. Even though it's a raw photo, sometimes I just use it right out of the camera and I don't bother editing the photo. But if I do want to edit the photo, it gives me all that extra data to do so. Now, I still have the camera control button to launch the default camera app. I use this if I want to take a photo quickly that I know I'm not going to want to edit, or if I want to capture video or any of the other options that are in there. I use Halide very specifically when I know I'm going to take a nice photo that I'm going to want to edit. Like this is going to be like a photo of family, friends, maybe a nice car, because, you know, I do that. But like if I know I'm going to want to edit a photo, or if I know I'm going to want like a non-processed look to it, that's when I use Halide. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. One thing I've been doing more is working outside of the house. This includes going to coffee shops during the day or working out of hotels while I'm traveling. And no matter where I am, I always make sure I have Surfshark installed on my Mac, my iPad, and my iPhone, all my devices I have with me. Surfshark is a VPN service that keeps you and your data safe. This isn't a, well, I have nothing to hide, so I have nothing to lose kind of things. At places like coffee shops or hotels or public places that have these open Wi-Fi networks, they can see your device's traffic. And if their network is ever compromised, and trust me, they do get compromised, the people that get into those networks can see your traffic as well. And those scary people can do a lot with the information they get from this traffic. And this isn't just some marketing line. I used to work in IT. I had a really long career in IT, and this was something we put to the test, and it's absolutely true. With Surfshark's VPN, your traffic is routed through secure servers, so nobody gets access to that. And one of my favorite things about Surfshark is they don't keep logs. They use memory-only servers, so even they don't see what's going on. But having a VPN isn't just about security. It can be a handy tool for navigating the web. You can use it for checking price discriminations based on regions, and you can use it for streaming services to see what content they have in different regions as well. I use Surfshark whenever I'm away from home. Go to surfshark.com/Lawley or use code Lawley at checkout to get an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN. My thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. The last row just has one app outside of folders, and that is Claude. Claude is my AI assistant of choice for a lot of reasons. On my iPhone, I use Claude as a starting point for research, asking questions, and even starting coding projects. I like Claude because they are more focused on it being an assistant tool than some slot machine. I'll come back to the apps that are in the folders in just a second, but I want to cover the apps that are in my dock first. First is Safari. Probably no surprise, I browse the web. There are other browsers on iOS, but due to App Store limitations, they're basically just reskin versions of Safari because they all have to use WebKit. And the benefit of using Safari over other third-party browsers is extensions. Again, due to App Store limitations, other browsers can't really use extensions unless they're built into the app. With Safari, you can use third-party extensions that have been submitted to the App Store and install those. Next in my dock is Todoist. This is my task and project manager of choice. I did a video about it recently. I will link in the description below along with everything else. Todoist is only one of 3 apps that can have badges on my phone. I hate badges. Apps should not have them. They call your attention and they just are very distracting, which is perfect for something like a task manager that you need to be checking to make sure you're getting the stuff that's due done. But other apps like games and stuff like that, they shouldn't have badges. The only other apps on my phone to get badges are Messages and Phone. The third app in the dock is Obsidian. This is where I do all my writing, note-taking, and journaling. I keep all my research for videos and other projects in here. Basically, I live out of Obsidian and Todoist. Those are my 2 core apps. And then the last app in the dock is Messages. Don't really think I need to explain that one. So there are 3 folders on my home screen, and these are the second tier of apps. I talked about the primary tier, all the ones that are outside of the folder. These are the secondary tier. These are the apps that I want to be able to quickly access, but I don't use as much as the other ones. The first folder is Apps for the Job, and the first app in this folder is the Citus Link app. This is the app that controls all the Amaran Studio lights in my office. This is a terrible, terrible app. It's slow, it's buggy, and the icon doesn't even support dark mode. But it lets me control almost all the lights I use for filming, and that's pretty handy. Next is Final Cut Pro Camera. Almost all the short form content I film is on my iPhone. I haven't been releasing any lately. I've been really trying to figure out what short form content on my channel should look like and what it should be. I don't want to just keep uploading like, I sat here writing on my iPad today. I'm really trying to figure out what this should be. Now, I'll either use my main phone, the iPhone Air, and just shoot in Final Cut Pro Camera right on my iPhone, or I have a secondary iPhone I keep here in the studio for filming kind of behind the scenes content, and I will use that as well. Either way, I'm using Final Cut Pro Camera on either iPhone. What I like about Final Cut Pro Camera is I can shoot HEVC log, which is something you can't do with the normal camera app. It also shows audio levels and has excellent support for third-party accessories like my DJI wireless mics. If you're shooting footage that's going to be edited in a non-linear editor, check out the Final Cut Pro app. There's a lot you can do with this over the built-in camera app. My experiment of ditching all of the Adobe apps is continuing, and I've been using Photomator as my Lightroom replacement. I edit a lot of photos on my iPhone, especially stuff that I shoot off of Halide in RAW format. Photomator gives me all the tools I need to edit a photo to the way I like, and I've been pretty happy with it. It has taken some adjustments and learning to move on from Lightroom, but I've been building my own presets and making it kind of work for the way I want to be able to edit photos. Slack is how the Mac Stories team communicates. My podcast, Comfort Zone, is a part of the Mac Stories family of podcasts, and this is where we chat about the show, but really we mostly goof off in there. I don't really have any other Slacks I'm a part of. It's pretty much the only reason why I use the app. Notion is how we do all the prep for Comfort Zone. We build the show outlines, track episode topics for both Comfort Zone and the separate member show Cozy Zone, and if a listener fills out feedback, it all goes in here. Notion has come a long way on the iPhone and iPad. In fact, I kind of want to make a separate video about it because I've been playing around with it for kind of a back-end business support app for doing like expense tracking, income tracking, sponsor tracking, project management, businessy business stuff, like all the core business stuff. Right now I have all that stuff in just like plain text markdown files, and it's not as flexible as something like Notion could be. But what I love is Notion has embraced MCP. And for those that aren't aware, what MCP is it's kind of a path that connects an AI assistant like Claude to a service like Notion. So you can tell Claude to build out a database in Notion, or you can tell Claude, hey, here's a bunch of PDF receipts, fill out my expense tracker with this, which is something I've been playing around with and is really handy. The next app in the job folder is Croissant. This is an app for cross-posting between Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. I mostly use this for just sharing my work. Then the last 3 apps in this folder are YouTube Studio, Instagram Edits, and TikTok Studio. I mostly just use these for checking analytics. Again, I'm still trying to figure out what short-form content would be. I'm not just going to replace the long-form content I do because I don't actually like short form content, but I also know I should be making it. So it's just something I'm playing around with, and these are kind of handy to have. The next folder is Entertainment and News. The first app in here is Reader. This is the new version that creates a unified timeline of various feeds. I have my RSS feed, YouTube channels I'm subscribed to, Mastodon, and Blue Sky accounts in here. I like having one place to go to see everything. Then there's Apple Music. This is another one I don't really think I need to explain. I prefer Apple Music over Spotify for a lot of different reasons, but probably the main one is I pay for the Apple One bundle that gets me a bunch of different Apple services, and that's a part of it. So it's just one less thing to pay for. The third app in this folder is Overcast. This has been my podcast player of choice for a long time. In fact, one of the very first videos I ever published to the channel, it's not public anymore because it's outdated and not good, but one of the very first videos I ever made was about Overcast. I like the way Overcast organizes podcast episodes. I have a playlist set up to automatically order shows oldest to newest, but I have a handful of shows that are a bit more timely set up as priorities, so new episodes always come in at the top. The next row starts with Recall. They have been a sponsor in the past, but this is the service I use as my read it later and bookmarking app. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the future, but this is a pretty cool app, and one thing I really like about it is it has this auto tagging sort feature. So it looks at whatever you're adding into the app and then will automatically add a tag. So if you're somebody that's really bad about organizing your read it later or bookmarking app, this does that for you, and I find that to be really nice. Then there is Letterboxd. This is probably my favorite social network because it's just about movies. In here, you can rate and review movies, you can see what your friends are watching, you can even make a watch later queue. It's very simple, it's no real posting about what's going on or anything like that. It's just about movies, and I love that. The app after that is YouTube. I watch YouTube. The bottom 3 apps are Threads, Instagram, and Discord. Threads can't be added to Reader, so I have this here. This is mainly just a place to kind of check to see what's going on with like my YouTuber friends. I found that that's the place where a majority of them are posting now, so I just kind of keep that to like check up on friends and see what's going on there. Instagram has been kind of nice. I've kind of got the algorithm trained. It shows me my friends and family. It shows me puppies. It shows me classic cars, and it shows me Lego. Like, I don't really think I need anything else beyond those 4 things. Then there's Discord. Oh, Discord. They've been in the news lately because they're announced these plans to do some verification stuff, but now they're walking it back. It's a whole mess. This may not exist here going forward. I don't know. We'll see, but it's in this folder for right now. The third folder is a bunch of utilities that I use. The first app is Drafts, and I've touched on this a bunch over the years. I put stuff like phone numbers or addresses or like things I need to like just look up and deal with. Like I just put that little bit of text in here, stuff that I don't need to keep long-term in my Obsidian vault. I also use Drafts for text templates. Big ones are for like video and podcast description, so I don't have to fill out the same text every single time. I'll also even write like really formal emails and messages that I'm gonna send in Drafts first. This way I can spell or grammar check or not accidentally hit send too soon, which is something I've done. This is also another app that has MCP support with Claude, so there's a lot you can do with it. Next is pCalc. This is an app I've had for a long time, way before there was a calculator even on the iPad. It's a scientific calculator, so it has some really advanced features that the built-in calculator doesn't have, and to be honest, stuff I don't understand what it does. I bought it once years ago and just keep it around. It works perfectly for me, and I like the design way better than the default calculator. It also has support for different themes and app icons if you're into that kind of thing. The last app in this row is Shortcuts. I built a lot of different shortcuts for a lot of different stuff, from publishing photos to quickly making changes to the device to changing smart home stuff. Shortcuts is another jack of all trades, master of none app. There's so much you can do with it. I've made a bunch of videos about it over the years. It's a handy app to get to know if you don't know how to use it already. Starting off the next row is Brick. I've talked about this one a lot lately. For me, it's a way to lock down my iPhone. Paired with a physical device, I can block specific apps and websites so when I need to focus, I'm not distracted. It's a little pricey, and I've been kind of working on a video about how to make your own Brick just using shortcuts. I'll work on that video and try and get it published as quickly as possible, but it's still gonna be a little finicky using shortcuts. So if you want something a bit more polished, Brick is the way to go. But if you want something a little more cheaper and you're fine with finicky, hold off from my video. Next is the Bamboo Handy app. This is the app that works with my 3D printer. All the models from the Maker World website are here. I can select anything and send it right to my printer. It also gives me a live activity of the current print job. Having a 3D printer has been a really nice tool. I've been able to fix a bunch of problems around the house and in my office, plus I've just been able to 3D print really fun stuff. Parcel is a delivery tracking app. I usually have a few things being shipped to me at any given time, and this lets me track all of that. It also hooks into Amazon and automatically adds everything ordered to the app. Kind of just a handy app to have around. Apple Maps is really good in California. I know it had a bit of a rocky launch and it's still not great everywhere, but in California at least, it's extremely good. Plus, out of all the GPS apps I've tried, it's the one that has the best CarPlay support. What I like about it is once you put in where you're going, most of the UI just gets out of the way and you can just see your big map. And then you can tap the screen and bring everything back if you want to turn on like sounds and stuff like that. Then there is the MyQ app. I hate this app. I hate MyQ. I hate everything about it. If MyQ you're watching, I hate you. This is how I'm able to open my garage door. Half the time, this app doesn't even respond and you have to force quit it and then reopen it to get it to work. It also doesn't support widgets, shortcuts, or like control center quick actions. They do this so you have to open the app and they can show you advertisements for their other hardware, even though you've bought hardware that supports their service already. I really, really miss my HomeKit garage door opener from my condo. I really miss that thing. I wish I could have brought it with me. What's nice about HomeKit is they have a CarPlay button right when you pull up to your house that you can just hit and it opens up. My Q doesn't even have a CarPlay app. If they just did a CarPlay app, that would be great. But they don't even do that. It sucks. If you're buying a garage door opener, look for something that has HomeKit compatibility in it natively. Don't go for something that's MyQ related. The company just locks everything down. They used to have support for Homebridge. They broke that. It's a nightmare. I've been trying to get my HomeKit garage door adapter to work with our garage door, and I just can't get it to work. The adapter doesn't work right. I am seriously considering ripping the whole garage door opener out and replacing it just so I can have HomeKit support and don't have to deal with MyQ again. The last app, and I will be honest, I actually rearranged these apps because I wanted to end on a positive note and not a negative note. This was the second to the last app, but I rearranged them. But the last app in the folder now is the Ford app. I love this app. If you can't tell by the hat, I'm kind of a Ford fanboy. This lets me remote start my car, shows me how much fuel I have left, what maintenance needs to be done, how much oil life I have. It's a really handy, well-built app. My only wish is that they would add Apple Car Key support, because you can use this app to unlock and lock your car. But what would be really nice is if when I walked up next to my car, it just unlocked automatically. And when I walked away, it locked automatically just off my phone. And I didn't need to bring my fob with me anymore because the Ford fob is big. Over on the Today view, I have a handful of useful widgets. The first is Carrot Weather, shows the current temperature, the high and low for day, and the precipitation chance and amount. This is my favorite weather widget I've ever used. You can go into the settings of this widget and customize just about everything you could want to about this widget. Then there is Parcel. This just shows the next item to be delivered. The next row has the Ford widget. This shows my current fuel level and the range of my car. I now live kind of sort of in the middle of nowhere. There's a big chance if I need to go do something, it's about a 40-minute to an hour drive away from me. So this is just kind of a handy widget to have to be like, okay, do I need to add time to go get gas before I have to go to this appointment or something like that? It's just kind of like a handy thing to have. The Overcast widget shows the podcast I'm currently listening to, but I mainly use this as a way for quickly resuming the show I was playing. After that, I have a medium-sized sequel widget. This shows the next two things on my watch queue. Handy for when I'm sitting down and want to watch a movie or a TV show and I don't really just want to decide, I just want to be like, okay, what's next? What I really appreciate about this is that the widget just shows generic artwork for the episode, so there's no spoilers in there. The last widget is the battery widget, helpful for seeing the battery life of my AirPods or Apple Watch. I'm not the best at always remembering to charge my AirPods, because they're not something that needs to be charged every single day, but it's just enough that I don't charge them every night, but I probably should because they're usually dead like every 2 to 3 days. I do wish I could edit this list and take the iPhone out of it. I don't need it because the iPhone's battery is in the top right corner. On the lock screen, I have a Busy Cow widget above the clock that shows my next appointment. I also use the large clock setting. I really like this paired with the always on screen. I can usually see the time on my iPhone from a distance, plus I think it looks good. Down at the bottom, I have a Busy Cow heat map. Don't really have a good reason for this one, just like the way it looks. Yeah. Then there are two Carrot Weather widgets, one for the current temperature and another one for precipitation. For quick actions, I have the flashlight and Apple TV remote. Flashlight's probably pretty explanatory. I'm sure most people have this one here. But the Apple TV remote is so handy if you live with somebody that doesn't always put the actual physical Apple TV remote away in the spot it's supposed to go when they're done using it. Look, I'm not saying that happens to me if a certain somebody is watching, but I have that app on my phone and quickly accessible. For the wallpaper, this is an image I shot near Yosemite National Park. I love this one. I'm in a really good dark green kick right now, if you can't tell by my shirt and walls and a lot of stuff in here right now. It's both the wallpaper on my iPhone and iPad. I'm going to go ahead and link to it in the description if you want to check it out or use it on your own device. There'll be a link with that and everything else I mentioned in the description. I also have a few wallpaper packs for sale if you want to check out some other images I've done. There are all images I have taken and edited myself. No AI or anything like that. It's all me. Everything I've done myself. But this one that I'm using on my iPhone and iPad, you all can have for free. You know, maybe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, just subscribe. But that's it. That's my iPhone setup. I want to hear from you all. I want to know what your iPhone setup's like. You can let me know in the comments below, like what apps you're using, or if you're like on Mastodon, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever, all the places. Send me images of your home screen. I love looking at home screen images, so you can send them to me there. My thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.